Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we welcome Jason Mankoff to the show. Welcome to the Wolff Den. How's everything going?
Good. Glad to be here, Matt. Thanks for the invite. I know we've had our little battles just internal, me and you. So now we get to bring it a little bit public, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to share what I like, what you like, what I don't like, what you don't like, a little bit of everything. But there's a lot of excitement in the air with college football coming around. I'll let you a quick introduction of yourself before we get into it for those who don't know you.
Sure. Yeah, very excited about the football season, obviously, and just dropped my oldest son, my middle child, off at UF last week, so that was pretty exciting. My daughter's at Colorado in Boulder, and my other son Noah is a 10th grader at Spanish River in Boca. At least you know my sons. We had some fun experiences driving up to Jacksonville for the Georgia game together. So that was a good time, other than the final result, which we don't have to talk about. But yeah, I went to UF went to high school in New York, grew up in New York in Westchester, Blindbrook High School, class of '88, went to UF, graduated there in '92, and basically went to law school there as well in '95. I think I met you through my roommate from law school, Jeff Hirsch, is how we met back in the day. So that was '95, and now I'm working in Miami. I live in Hollywood on the beach, which is really nice, and loving this job in Miami doing real estate tax appeals. So that's the quick intro.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, so you're a double Gator. I graduated in '98 from UF. I have a twin brother who graduated too. He got in right out of high school. I got in after a year of community college. I had to appeal. Really had no business getting in with my grades.
Yeah, and I always wondered how you got in. So now it makes total sense.
Now it's like an Ivy League. It's really impossible, very difficult to get in. How hard was it when you were there? Because you were there a little bit before me.
So it was very difficult for me, only because I got in from New York. So they only took, I believe they said back then, around 10% out of the state. And I wasn't like I was dying to go to UF. I had always wanted to go to Arizona. We used to take our family Christmas for holiday trips to Arizona, Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And, we walked around Tucson and U of A. And I'm like, I went to a very small high school. It was public, but only 300 people. And I was at U of A, and it's like the pools, the weather, the women, the sports. It's like, I'm going to U of A. So I was signed, sealed, and delivered at U of A. And my dad said, that's fine. You can go there, but at least go visit one other school. So I went to go to UF, and you'll remember the story. I bought this clock, this Florida clock called This Is Gator Country. And it was like $40. And he's like, I'm not buying it for you. You're going to U of A. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll buy it. But he goes, well, if you wind up going here, I'll pay you back. He probably never paid me back. But wound up going to UF really because it was U of A, but it was closer. I had an aunt who lived in Coral Springs, and it was a little bit better of a school. So that's how I wanted. Growing up, I didn't know the Gators from anything. I didn't even follow college sports. In New York, college sports is not really a big thing.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to hear this because I don't think we ever talked about this. I'm from New Jersey. My sister went to U of A. I got into U of A and was supposed to go to U of A. That's where I wanted to go.
Funny.
My parents wouldn't let me go away. And so a year of community college, they're like, let me see if I can get into UF because that's where my twin brother was. And so I was bear down all the way at Damon Stoudemire and Khalid Reeves.
Yeah. Sean Elliott.
My guys.
That's really funny. No, we definitely did not talk about it because, you'll talk forever, and I just like to move on to the next subject.
Yeah. So. Well, how would life? I always think like life would be real different. I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now if I went to U of A. I'd probably be out on the West Coast. That would be my guess. Do you think the same thing?
What is it, the butterfly effect or whatever they call it? I always think about that. Everything is so dependent on timing, and it's crazy. You definitely wouldn't be sitting there. We wouldn't know each other. You would know other people. All these little decisions are big decisions. But sometimes little decisions, it's crazy. It's insane. Absolutely.
Now, my sister went to U of A, and did you visit Tempe? Because I think Tempe it's a bigger city, but it's kind of better, I think, from a campus perspective.
So I've been there, but we always went to like the Scottsdale area. So it was always at U of A, and I always just had this big U of A fan. And as that, I hated ASU, and then I have a couple buddies, one who's a huge ASU fan now, who we abuse each other even because we're at least Gators, so we get along a little bit. He's a big ASU fan. Emory's going there now, so I'm like, enjoy, and he's so I can't stand ASU. That's for you, James. You know that I can't stand them.
I don't like ASU either.
My fondest memories of Phoenix are 2006. I don't know if you were there for that.
I was
that
not
was when
there.
we played Ohio State, and they were big favorites over. I think like 10-point favorites. They ran the opening kickoff back for 7. Like, this is going to be a long night, and then we wound up demolishing them. And I just remember being after the game at the IHOP, with my family. It was just that was our first real. We won it in '96, but that was like, I don't know. It just felt like we were now like the dynasty type of team.
You're a UF grad. You're a huge Gator fan, as big as a Gator fan as I know. I put a bunch of people in that loop. What did it feel like when your son got into UF?
So it's very exciting. I spoke to him twice already today. He thinks I'm annoying because I keep asking him, like, what's he doing? What's he doing here? And like, Dad, you're just asking so many questions, but it's exciting. I remember the time when he called me. He's like, he's very, Devin. He's not that exuberant. He's just quiet and kind of calm and chill. And he was like, he FaceTime. He's like, I got you. He was like going absolutely bananas. Like, it was unbelievable. So to see his excitement, was really excitement. Obviously, I went there. I was the first. My brother, Ethan, followed me. I think you know him. And obviously, Craig, who lives down here in Miami, he followed me. So we had, 3 of us being Gators. My dad, who went to Penn, he's became a pseudo Gator. So now Devin following his footsteps. My daughter Jordy got in as well, and I remember her telling me, when she got in, she was excited. And then when I remember her telling me when she got in, when she decided to go to Colorado, she ultimately told me later she was scared to tell me, but I was excited for her. I mean, Colorado is actually my favorite state. That was the right decision for her. I think that UF should definitely be a great opportunity for Devin. And Noah, who's a sophomore, he just likes to rile me all the time that he's going to FSU. So just to get under my skin, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm hoping that Devin getting in there will entice him to study a little harder and be able to, follow and finish in the footsteps.
Yeah. You got to get your grades up with FSU and UF. It's crazy how high it's ranked academically now, which, and it's so hard to get in. And there's so much forget about academics. There's all 100 reasons why people would want to go to UF the same way people would want to go out to Arizona, out to California. So it's become a really tough thing to get into, and a lot of disappointed people who want to get into UF that can't. Boulder's beautiful campus, by the way. We saw a game there one time, right with the mountains.
So I was there last year once. I had to move my daughter. She changed her dorms. And the way they did it was you only could do it like at a certain period. Of course, it happened to be that weekend of the Alabama game, which I had waited for a year to go to, here. And so I'm watching it in the hotel room there going crazy. And I was like, it was bittersweet when they lost because I was like, I can't believe they lost. But I'm like, I'm glad I'm not there, kind of. If they had won, and I was like, not there. But I was like, we beat the hell out of Alabama for 3 quarters, just physically. And I'm like, all right, this is okay. And then obviously, the disaster hit. But the one thing I forgot to mention, which was very kind of ironic, when I dropped my son off last week, he was in Beatty Towers. And that's where I was. That was my dorm in 1988. So what is it, like over 30 years later, bringing him, I hadn't been there since 1988. It looked identical, the same. Of course, the elevator was broken. Yeah. So we had to move up all the stuff up the stairs. That was a fun workout. They
changed the carpet. My brother lived in Beatty for a year.
I don't think they've changed anything. I mean, back when I was there, it was new. It was like, this is a beautiful place. You didn't have the floor shower. You had your own shower and bathroom, which was the nice thing. But it pretty much looked the same. But he's fine. He's happy.
Yeah, I'd say it's really hard to have a bad college experience. I mean, I think things can happen, but I think a lot of it is what you make of it, and it doesn't almost matter where you go. There's stuff to do for everyone, whether it's the sports, whether it's the academics, just hanging out. There's people that you could find that are your people. What was your college experience like?
So my freshman year was a huge adjustment. As I said, I went to a public school, but only 300 people. In New York, there was 100 people in our class, and I knew every one of them. We were the biggest class ever coming through that school, Blindbrook High School, and went to UF and didn't know anyone really, and everyone knew everyone. That was the thing, because they all know. Like my son, he knows these. There's four of them. Three of them are from Spanish River. He's living. The other guy they met, great guy. He's cool. But he didn't know anyone in their room. But everyone knew everyone, and I was very. All I did, all I did was basically play tennis, play basketball. I didn't do well in school my first semester. I got 4 C's, and I think I even dropped a class. And I was like, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But I stuck with it. I think I ended up graduating with like a 3.6 or 3.7. But because those 4, after that, if I took away that one semester, I had like a 3.9. I just had to get accustomed to it and adjusted and used to it. And then,
it was a real, when I got there, it was a real culture shock, and I think in both ways. So, I'm from New Jersey. I actually had, my brother was there. 2 of my good friends were from my high school were there, and there was a ton of people from my high school who went to UF. It was a popular destination for my school, but there were probably people who never met the people that I met, who were the people in Miami and the Cubans, and never met a Jewish person in their life, and then I actually really never met anyone whose parents were divorced, and then I met all, it was a whole huge culture shock when I got down there first, but eventually you find your people. I had a little bit of a disadvantage / advantage knowing people there when I got there. Sometimes I wonder what it would have been like if I didn't know anyone and I had to kind of find my.
Yeah, but you're very social and extrovert and love to talk.
Not my brother is a lot more surprised. I mean, I get comfortable very quickly, but initially it's tough, and so it's tough, but I still have friends that I went to school with, and I actually am friendly with
What was
people
your first year?
My first year was 95.
Oh, so that was the year.
Yeah.
That was the year. That was our undefeated. I mean, we still never have an undefeated title, which is the one thing I really want.
They
We lost in. Thankfully, I didn't go because I was studying for the bar. That was the only reason. I remember trying to get away from the TV. That was obviously Nebraska's great team, and trying to like escape because I couldn't watch it anymore. And I went to, it was Cash and Carry on 34th Street, trying to like get someplace. And they had the game piped on the radio. It was like fourth quarter. It was, that was it, because we were undefeated, and I think we scored first that game too. And then obviously in 96 we won it, but we lost at Tallahassee. We got, I feel, railroaded in the game at Tally with some holding calls. We were the good team. That was the game that kept beating the hell out of Danny, if you remember. And
you like the undefeated season, but there's something sweet about having to take a L in that game.
No, I want the undefeated. I'm so jealous. Obviously, I'd rather have two titles with one loss than one title, but I'm still not complete until the Gators win an undefeated national title.
It can happen. That Nebraska team, by the way, the best college football team I've ever seen.
Could be. Yeah, we got unlucky. That's how, because we were
great.
Yeah.
We were great. We might have been better the year we lost than the year we won. It's close, probably close. Did you talked about, before you go to all the games, I know you go to football. How much sports did you go to with regards to watching them compete, the Gators, when you were there?
So I went to everything. This was, I went to baseball games. I went to basketball games. And so football games, I was there for 7 years. So 4 years of undergrad and 3 years of law school. Was always there before kickoff, never left at halftime, never did that porpoise thing, never was drinking, just was focusing on the game, stayed till the end. That was like the greatest thing in the world to me, just being at those games. I do remember one year, I think it was my freshman year, I went to all the basketball games too. When I first started basketball, we weren't great, but we had a couple of good years. And being on the bubble, those games really mattered. But I remember one year, I think it was '88, I decided not to go, and Chris Jackson lit us up for 53. It was like this amazing game. I was in the Gator arcade on University, some reason playing video games, and I was like, I can't believe I missed this game. I'm not missing any more games like this. That's the thing of sports. You never know when you go to an event. What could happen. You could be at a baseball game, it could be a no-hitter, it could be a perfect game. Basketball, you could see some guy go crazy. Football, it's you never know. But I went to volleyball. I mean, I didn't go to golf, but I feel like I went to all the events. I went to watch tennis. Used to have Lisa Raymond there, who was like the number one player. It was just great.
The Ticket Time Machine really started because of a no-hitter. If it might have started if it didn't happen, but that's really how Ticket Time Machine started. I was at a Marlins game, and we have a friend who's huge Mets fan. His wife made him leave in the 7th inning of the Johan Santana no-hitter.
Was she sick? Or she just wanted to?
Nope.
The how? Okay. Well, how did he say okay? I mean, I understand it was a no hitter.
You don't leave a no hitter.
I mean, it's not a perfect game, which is obviously another world, but still, you can't leave a no hitter.
It's the greatest, probably the greatest non-Gator event I've ever been. Definitely top 5.
How was that Dwight Gooden's no hitter in New York? I remember my brother Craig. It was probably I don't remember. We had season tickets, and we went to a lot of games. And I don't remember. We went like late. We got there like the second or third inning. We were like on the fence about. I don't know if I wanted to drive. I don't remember if it was me convincing him, "Come on, we got to go," or him convincing me that we had to go. But we wound up going. And Dwight Gooden for the Yankees threw that no hitter. But I mean, I got no hitters to me now are a dime a dozen. I don't really do anything for me. The perfect game is what it's all about now.
Yeah, but the odds in you being at the stadium when there's a no hitter, there's not. It's still very few people who have, in the grand scheme of things, who go to watch games, who have seen a no hitter.
So I still have that ticket somewhere. I mean, and as much as I like to give you a lot of abuse all the time, but I'm old school. You know that I don't have Uber. I pay my bills with checks. So I like the old school ticket. I like having that in my hand. I don't, I'm going to the Utah game. Someone sent me some tickets electronically. I have no idea how to get them. I'm going with my son Noah. Hopefully he'll figure it out for me. But, I went to the 2006 basketball game in Indianapolis, the first title. Yeah. Then the 2006 football in Arizona, which we talked about, and then the 2007 title in Atlanta. Those were like the 3 in a row with the trifecta. Incidentally, my son Noah is named after Joachim Noah from the 2006 because we couldn't come up with a name at the time. My daughter's Jordana, my son is Devin, Dven, like 7. We thought those were kind of unique names, and we were trying to come up with and we just couldn't. And I just like, you know what? Good Jewish name. If we win the title, we're just naming him Noah.
There you go.
I was good with it, and that's why he's named Noah. But I came back from those 3, and I had those tickets, and I'm like, these tickets are, they're those beautiful tickets. They're all the final games. But oh yeah, right. So I actually framed them in one. I had this Gator room, and I had this frame of the 3 tickets next to each other. So we argue a lot of things, but one thing I love the ticket time machine idea. I think having an actual ticket is a great memory. And and so
I appreciate it. We've talked about what should be and what shouldn't be. I collect all the tickets. Now I'll tell you 2 things. One, my brother was at the game with me, and we went to the Hard Rock after, and he had his ticket with him. And I don't know if you know Dovell, but Hirsch knows Dovell.
Wait, you're talking about the 2008 game and when we played
down here?
Yeah.
So he just went to the bathroom, and my friend Dave Dovell thought he'd be funny and because we're pranksters, wet a paper towel and throw it over. Well, it got into his ticket and ruined his whole ticket. It was he was not happy about that. But the thing about these and I talk about it all the time, is they're because of the nature of ticketing back then, and they had to pre-print. There's no indication that the Gators even played at this game, right? So now we talk about commemorative tickets, and we go, all right, so we got these commemorative tickets. These are all commemorative tickets for baseball, basketball, and football. And they have the name on there, but not all of them have the section, row, and seat on there. But they're all blank on the back. So it's like, look, I buy everything. I buy everything. I get it. I got the hat here. This is about as ugly a hat as you can ever have. This was the second basketball.
That's so funny. My dad was cleaning up his stuff in New York. He just sent me a hat just like that. Not that one. He sent me the 2006 football hat, the identical hat.
Yeah,
it's gray, but it's the same. Yeah,
the gray one is nice. They have
it's a beautiful hat, but it's
here. I get the Sports Illustrated stuff. I mean, I buy anything that anything could be. This is a replica trophy.
Oh, I got it all. Trust me.
The Coca-Cola. This is my favorite.
I got that. I got it.
96 Coca-Cola.
I got it. I got 3 of those.
I'm still trying to figure out what this is. It's a chocolate bar.
It's a chocolate bar. I got it. Yep.
I'm like, I don't even know what this stuff is, but it's awesome. I love it. I'm always going to buy.
You got these? I'm going to go get them in my office here.
Yeah, I'm always going to buy everything.
You got the Louise boxes?
So here's the other things that I got.
You got these, Matt?
I have this is the championship one that Urban Meyer signed at one of his gatherings.
Okay. Yep.
And
And I got
then
this one here.
and then this one I had the gate when I had my Gator Greats game when I
Yep.
was there. So this has Noah and
Did you ever have that game? I know it got like
yeah,
rescheduled.
I didn't. We haven't done mine yet, and we will.
Okay.
But this has all like Noah and
Yeah,
Dupay
good
and
stuff. Great stuff.
Richards. So yeah, it's crazy all the
But
cool
now,
stuff.
if you go to a game, you can't have a ticket. You got
License
something on your
plates.
phone.
I got my old license
I got
plates.
those too.
I mean, it's crazy all the stuff that I collect. But what do you have a favorite game, Gator game?
It's
Maybe
always
one
the
of each for
losses. It's
football
the
and basketball.
losses that stick with you more. I have more, unfortunately, the painful losses, like the Andy Fuller game against Auburn after they had beat us in Auburn. And we were waiting all year for that. And I don't know if you remember that game at Auburn. It was the year they were on probation, and it was like '93 or something, and it wasn't on TV. But somehow the only way you could ever watch it was you happened to be in Gainesville. They put it on in the stadium. So it was not on TV anywhere because Auburn was on probation, and we were up 14-0, and we were about to go ahead 21-0. We have the ball like at their 2, and we threw an interception in the end zone. The guy runs it back to make it 14-7, and yeah, obviously 21-0 or 14-7 is a whole different game. We wound up losing, and I just this is we take our Gator trips with our family, my dad, my brothers, my sons, my other brother's sons. And we've been they've been everywhere. I haven't been to A&M. The only times I haven't seen them play is A&M because of the Manziel game I missed. I had something for work or something, so I'm going this year. But I remember Ethan saying, "Oh, good, I'm happy. I just want to see a good game." So since I was like over 25 years ago, all I ever say to him is, "Yeah, Ethan, you just want to see a good game." And because it
I
was
don't
a
want to see
bitter,
you.
so the next year was waiting for Auburn. It was Terry Bowden. They were coming into the swamp.
That's the
And
Frank Sanders game.
Sanders and Fuller, Andy Fuller for the tight end killed us. But Sanders, I think, had the winning touchdown over Gilmore. And it was just that game was just, I waited a year for that revenge. And like that game was just always just killed me.
Some of the traditions that I do my sports trip where I go to Major League Baseball, college football, and pro football every year. But I also started to do an away Gator football game. The first year we did Kentucky, and actually game day was at Kentucky that year. But you and I have seen each other in the airports just randomly at the start. That's kind of how we sort of I know we see each other a little bit, but then we sort of see each other. That's a great tradition. Is that your favorite tradition that you guys have?
Oh, it's great. Yeah. My favorite place is Oxford, Ole Miss. And unfortunately, we were going to go there 2 years ago, and then Corona hit. So it never happened. And then they scheduled it later in the year or something. But that's an amazing place. But the whole experience is just great. Yeah.
Well, I was in A&M with Mark and Hirsch.
Oh, you were there then?
Yeah, but
So
they were supposed to play Ole Miss.
Oh, that year. Okay. Yeah. Right.
The first year they were supposed to play Ole Miss, and then A&M came and they switched it.
Yeah.
A&M is you're gonna love A&M.
I can't wait.
It's unbelievable.
I'm just hoping we the season's always a lot more exciting when you only have one loss.
Yeah.
So
or none.
Or none. But if you have one, you're still alive, and that's late in the year. So
yeah, I'm the eternal optimist. You know that. I think that I think if Richardson plays like Richardson can play, there's no reason that we can't win every game. Now, I don't think we are going to. I'm saying if I'm looking at every game individually, we should be able to compete and have a chance to win in every game. Where do you see the Gators right now?
I mean, with Richardson, you feel like you always have that puncher's chance. He's got to stay healthy. Obviously, he's been very injury prone. Which game we watched the game? Was it last year? We watched the game.
Yeah,
together?
the Kentucky game, I think.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win."
They should have won till the end.
They had like 17,000 off procedure penalties, and you're like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's fine. We're good. And I'm like, no, they got no discipline. They can't win. Mullen doesn't know what he's doing. He's got no control. You're like Mr. Optimistic. I told you I'm never watching a game with you. You said you're never watching a game with me because I'm a realist. You're like, you're so negative.
I don't like jinxing. I'm a very.
You're like, they're gonna lose just because you're so negative. I'll go, yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
I believe all of that.
I'm like, you got no credibility, man. Everything's always so rosy and optimistic to you.
No, I think it's last year was a terrible year, but I think until it's over, I'm always going to believe that they can win and should win. And
I wanted them to win, but I just didn't feel like they were going to win, and they didn't because they have no discipline, and that's the thing. I'm hoping. It seems like that's their number one thing now, and if you lose a game because you get beat by a better team, that happens. But if you lose a game because you're doing stupid things and like the shoe, and I mean, there's so many games, like, it drives you insane.
It does. You watch all of the sports. There's a lot. I'm not crazy about what's going on in college football. The alignment, the NIL, the portal. I think all of them, all three of them are not great individually, and all of them together are really. I'm not a fan of it. I think part of it I understand, and they should probably try and find a way to do it better. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, it's something we finally agree on. It feels like the wild, wild west to me, and I can't even follow it. Like I'm so sickened by it. College football to me has always been the best sport because every Saturday's so important and it matters, and it's like I've always just loved it. Now there's just so much other stuff going on. I mean, I feel like once we get to the game against Utah, it was in like a week or so, we'll forget all about that when you're on the field. It'll all be like college football at its best. A top 5 team coming into the swamp. I mean, it's going to be very exciting. Can't wait to go. Night game. But yeah, the whole off season's been, just with all sports. I don't even watch Sports Center anymore. I don't even listen to sports radio. All this stuff, just the streaming, I just like the older days. So I hate it. I don't even know how college basketball is going to be affected by all this because they always talk about college football in these conferences, but then what happens to Duke when no one wants Duke for football, but obviously for basketball,
a little bit better now than they used to.
But I don't know how it's all going to play out. I don't even follow it. But talking about Utah, just real quick, I just did a little quick thing. I wanted to give you a quick quiz to see how you knew. I was checking, so I started in '88, so I've basically been there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Napier will be the 8th head coach. There's been the interims. I'm not counting like Durkin and Shannon and Knox, who did a game or two. 8 coaches that have started on opening day. Okay. So my first year was Galen Hall, 88, 89. And then Spurrier came in 90. When that was obviously fun. 89 and 88 were fun because that was Emmett. 88, we started 5-0, and then we finished 6-5. Then Zook came. Then Urban, Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, and Napier. So I was checking because I always like to try to go to the first game of the coach. And I thought I'd been to all of them, but I hadn't. I'd missed 1 or 2. I was there obviously for Hall, Spurrier, and Zook. I was there for Urban and Muschamp. I definitely missed McElwain, which was probably the right decision. I don't know if I made it to Mullen, even though I was very pro in favor of Mullen being hired at the time.
Yeah.
Even though I was also very in favor of him going. So that worked out. And then obviously Napier. So, the opening games, I'm looking at them. I just wanted to test you if you have any idea who they played in Urban Meyer's first game in 2005.
I don't think it was anyone good. I know they used to never play any of them. They were terrible. It was like
they weren't terrible, but they weren't great.
FAU, one of them played.
FAU was Muschamp.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Spurrier was Oklahoma State, actually, and we beat them like 50-7. But Urban Meyer was Wyoming. Remember that game?
Yeah, because of one of our coaches. Maybe that was basketball.
I don't know. So looking forward to this one. I think, I always try to make the first game. I'm always very optimistic, when they bring in a new coach. Really excited for Napier. And we'll see what happens. No one's really talking about us, which is fine. It's like the 2006 basketball team. Remember them?
We win our games. We're going to be right where we need to be.
That's why I've never cared about the ranking. Just win the games. Gators win their games. Things will take care of themselves.
Here's the one change. I believe in an 8 or 16 team playoff. I'm going to assume you don't.
So 16 is too many. I don't mind 8. I like every Saturday to matter. Like 16 teams, you could have 3 losses. Someone's going to get, once you get, like, you'll ever look at the top 25 teams that are 3 losses are in there. If you're in the top 8, it's very rarely going to have 3 losses. So, I'm okay with 8. And I think there's a way they could definitely figure out how to do it with like the 5 made conferences, the automatic, the champ gets it. I mean, there's definitely ways. I don't want 16. I'm okay with 8.
But the thing that I don't care about with 3 losses is things are so unbalanced. If you look at Arkansas's schedule, they can have 3 losses and still have a very good year and beat some pretty good teams that other teams aren't playing so good. So, but anyway, I think
it's a valid point.
They're going to get to 8 eventually. I don't think they should do anything more with March Madness, which they're talking about.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. Really?
What they're doing. If you could only watch, I know you go baseball and all that. Which sport would you do if you can only watch one?
No, football. I mean, Florida football. That's
football.
Florida
That was it.
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited for the basketball team too. I love the hire there as well.
I think they're going to be. They got a chance too. It's fun to have a chance. That's all you want is a chance to compete, to make the postseason, and then see what happens. But I can tell you, I spend way too much time, energy, and emotion on the Gators. I assume you are the same way. It's like I've been trying to do better about it, but it's like can you explain it to someone who doesn't know it?
But it's a good, like, you can't fake it. Like, you know, I used to, my other teams I don't care about really. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, but if they lose, I'm like, it doesn't. I'm like, they stink, you know. Boom, what are you doing? Like, I'm not like, oh my god, Gators lose, like, yeah, like it's awful, you know.
My friend Brand, who's probably the biggest Gator basketball fan I know, I remember, I forget which game it was. He could tell. He's sometimes in the thing, and they lost a huge game, and his wife goes, "Well, don't let it ruin your day." And he's like, "Ruin my day?" He's like, "This is gonna ruin my week, my month.
Right.
If we're not careful, it might ruin my year." It was probably like the Final Four game that we were at, which we've been to.
Yeah, we blew up. I mean, that was the game against after was it we had that game in the Garden with Chioza. Remember that one?
Oh yeah,
that was an amazing win. My dad was there with my son Devin. I was there with Brian Levine. You know Brian. He invited me actually. That was nice. And then they lost to the SEC team, South Carolina. Yeah, that was a game we should have never lost. You know,
never should have lost. We should have a couple more championships in basketball too. A couple more in football.
I don't know about championships, but they could have won some more Final Fours for sure. They could have beaten Duke that year when we were up, like, was it 94? I think we were up 10 at the half. Kind of fell apart. But yeah, you can't. I mean, the basketball has been a pretty good run.
It's been great.
We've done good.
You get spoiled, and the fans get spoiled. I mean, there's some really ignorant Gator fans out there who just think, and I'm optimistic, but I don't think we should go undefeated every year. I just think we should have a chance to win.
I understand, but I think we should. I think we need to go undefeated once in a while, not every year. But we're Florida. Like, we shouldn't have been surpassed by Georgia like this. You know,
I think we'll be back soon. I want to move on. We're going to move on, talk a little bit of music. I know that's a big thing for you also. What's your favorite non-Gator sport memory of being in Gainesville as a student?
My favorite non-sport memory of being in Gainesville. Wow.
Have you seen any shows, or was there like, I used to play Phi Hoops. I had a crazy story with that.
I guess fighting Slugfest, because that was just such an experience.
Was that in Congo Craig's?
No, Slugfest in the O'Connell Center. It was a fraternity event, 4 teams, real boxing. We trained for like 2 months, and it was on TV and Sports Channel Florida. And I fought the last fight of the all Slugfest because, think about it, it was a school-sponsored events, liability. They canceled after that. And the craziest part about it is it was on Sports Channel Florida, but back then Sports Channel was also in New York. So I had some people who were drunk in New York like a week afterwards, and it was on at like 2 a.m, and they're like sitting in some bar, and they didn't know I fought it, and they're like,
"Is that Jason?"
Like, I don't know if they called me, texted me, email. I don't remember. It probably wasn't phones back then, but I remember them getting a hold of me, and it was just a funny experience that they had seen. Like, what? It's crazy. So if you Google Jason Mankoff Slugfest, you can see that.
We did boxing at Congo Craig's downtown. Yeah. And then we had pudding wrestling in my high school our senior year. That was fun.
Did you fight at Congo Craig's?
I never fought.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I didn't fight it. I think my brother Ethan did.
Yeah, I used to play basketball with Ethan because I hung out a lot at Lambda Chi, the Lambda Chi people, and his fraternity was right next door. Let's talk about music. It's funny. We joke about it all the time. I think one of the things that it doesn't bother me, but that we joke about all the time is, when you have an opinion, you say, this thing is terrible, this thing sucks, instead of, I think this is bad or I don't like this. It's very absolute. Do you do that on purpose, or is that like...
Yeah, I love to get under your skin for sure. Because you love everything. Like, you've never seen a bad concert.
I know what I like. I don't go to concerts. I know I'm not going to like this. My friend says the same thing about movies. I'm like, I'm not going to go to a movie I don't think I like. I've seen bad concerts. The worst concert I've ever been to 2 of them, I'll tell you. Sublime with Rome, they didn't play What I Got, and Starship didn't play We Built This City, and Blues Traveler played one time, and they had to give free tickets for the rest of the summer because he played like 3 songs and walked off.
Why was he sick?
We have to this day, I have no idea. I like We Built This City. There's a lot of songs that people
I
say
love that song.
These are the worst songs. What do you? I mean, you think these are some of the worst songs, that some are the most famous, but it's funny how some of those songs that people think are great.
Well, like Tears for Fears, you're talking about, because I hate
Yeah,
Shout. I hate Shout. I hate Everybody Rules the World, because the people who love those songs, I really believe. Jeff Cohen, my buddy, can attest to this. They don't really know Tears for Fears. Their albums are great.
That's okay.
Their other songs are the grit stuff. These are the pop. Those songs, I just don't like them. They're just not
people who only like. I'm a headliner kind of guy in the popular songs. I try and get into some of the other stuff, but I didn't start liking music until basically I got to college, which means all of that stuff that was in the 90s. So all those 70s and 80s that, I didn't get into as much. Now I'm much more. I mean, I feel
like you like every band in the world. I mean, you come up with these bands like, oh, I'm going to say, I've never even heard of these 9 of the 10 bands that you name. I've never even heard of.
Well, I mean, are you a music connoisseur?
So, I like music. My dad grew up in the music industry. He worked for CBS Records. And then he, worked for, I'm sure you know the Pina Colada song. He went to a record label that did that song. Yeah. That was a big hit. So I grew up in music. I used to go to the mall every weekend, and we would buy 5 to 10 CDs or whatever for free because he was in packaging and he wanted to see all the packaging. So I grew up in music. I love music. But now, I hated country music growing up. I was like, make fun. Now I love country music.
I didn't like country music till Tortuga. I don't miss a minute of Tortuga every year, and I go to country.
Yeah. I've never been to that, but
What's the biggest difference between you and your brothers? I have a twin brother. Both went to the same school. Both like sports and but there's a lot of differences. What's like something that is very similar with all of you, and what's something that's very different?
I mean, I think they'd all just say I'm difficult, because I'm set in my ways, kind of. I guess I'm the oldest brother. I'm used to, so, Ethan will go on the trips. I'll go on the trips. Ethan will lay in bed till 10. I'll be up at, I just can't, and, Craig's probably in the middle, but it's, it all works out. Craig just got married. So,
nice.
He's in Miami married. Ethan's in Orlando married. And, so.
And how about your kids? How much of you are in, with sports and all that is in your, because they're good athletes, very good athletes.
Yeah. So
you were a good athlete. You played a lot. You were a good athlete.
Yeah. I mean, I was good in everything, but never great. That was
same
like,
with me.
But I think that they're all, I think they all have parts of me. Their mom says Devin, my oldest son, is me, and I could see that as well. They don't really talk that much. It's like got to get me going. But my daughter Jordana.
Noah's a bit of a wise guy. So
Noah's a wise guy. Noah needs a butt kicking. I told you when we were going, I was like, Matt, you take care of him when I'm not looking. It's okay. He's calming down a little bit, yeah. But now he's home alone, so he's lonely.
Yeah, well,
you're up by him. You guys have to go play some hoops.
I'll play hoops anytime. I love it. I got injured the other day.
He's driving now though, so be careful.
Yeah, no, I got injured the other day playing hoops. It was like I need to play more, and you do a lot of exercise and working out, right?
Yeah, I like to just be outside though, running on the beach, and so.
If you could have picked anything to excel in and be a star, go to college, and what would it be? What would it be?
Well, I always just wanted to be the center fielder for the Yankees. I mean, that was and if not that, the GM. I was always growing up was the Yankees. That was
playing baseball.
Baseball, yeah. Still love baseball. I still think college baseball is the most underrated sport there is, and the college baseball, the NCAA baseball tournament, I think is the most amazing.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you on the postseason. The other thing is there's a lot of games and they're not as meaningful because you kind of know, like, hey, we're gonna be good.
You think that, but the Gators barely got into the tournament this year.
Yeah, but they
the games wound up mattering. So
it did, but for the most part, they're gonna host, and I think I'm much more for the postseason for that. And the postseason.
Yeah, I grew up playing Little League, and I played shortstop. And my second baseman was Dan McDonald, who's now the head coach at Louisville. So I follow them closely. He's been there well. They've never won it all, but they've been to a lot of the I know you've been to Omaha, I think, right?
I have. It's a bucket list. I suggest everyone go, whether your
Yeah.
team is there or not. It's just an unbelievable
That's
experience.
on my bucket list with hopefully soon. And the Masters, I'm hoping my friend Mike Myers, he said he's going to take me this year. So we'll see if that
I'd love
happens.
to get to the Masters. I'd love to get to the Little League World Series. I've never been there. I hear that's a really cool
Yeah.
experience. So
That's funny you said. I've been watching that. I don't know if you've been watching it at all.
I
It's been
watched a
on.
little bit. I saw the New York kid throw a no hitter, and
Yeah,
then
they got to limit it, but I've been watching it, and so Craig's been texting me. I was watching the Yankee game. He was like, "Shouldn't you be watching 12-year-old kids?" And it's like making fun of me, but I just think it's good stuff. Well, we talked about actually last or 2 weeks ago that whole thing with
the kid who got hurt.
I think we agreed on something for once. With the guy got hit.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, with the sportsmanship.
I thought that was just tremendous.
Right.
And then I think, you're always posting stuff on LinkedIn. I just like scrolling when I'm laying in bed at night or whatever, and I see you like talking to someone who was saying that was like terrible.
Yeah, it was Portnoy at Barstool Sports. He just tries to get under everyone's skin. So
I just thought that was tremendous, and I can't believe anything could say anything negative about that. I thought it was one of the better moments. The only thing that upset me about it was I felt like the manager who came out from the pitching team, he didn't even say anything to the kid, like who had got hit. Like I was like, he should have been like, give him a hug back or said, thanks. That kid, that was awesome. I that's the kind of stuff in sports I love.
Yeah, but social media really hypes up and
that bike incident too. Remember we had talked about that biking thing when
when they fell down and the
guy was leading and then he waited and they shook it. Like that's I love
biking is very much like that. Olympics, biking, all of those big, right? And there's a lot of that. There's probably you know what? Look, social media talks about a lot of bad stuff, and I know you don't follow a ton of it, but it's also like people are looking to get famous for doing things, so sometimes it's not always as genuine. But
I feel like both those were genuine. I mean,
yeah, the biking stuff and the Olympics. I mean, there's a lot more people doing good sportsmanship than bad. I would think. Would you agree with that?
No, I mean, I would hope so, but I see a lot of terrible things too. I mean, it drives me crazy. You watch like a college football game, the team's down 35-3. He makes a good hit. The guy gets a first down. He gets a good hit. He whacks him, and he's like going crazy. I'm like, dude, the guy just got a first down. Your team's getting killed. I just feel like everything's out of whack.
If Billy Napier does one thing this year, I want him to stop these people celebrating until it's time to celebrate. That's what annoys me so much.
Yeah. And
let's go on.
Talking about annoying me real quick because I couldn't even watch it. That banana thing or whatever
They just announced today. Actually, I'm going next week because we're driving up through Savannah. They just announced today. This thing is so successful. I know it's not for you, and that's fine. They just announced today that they're giving up playing real baseball.
I knew they had both. They're giving up playing the real baseball.
They've won 2 titles in a row, and they're giving it up, and they're going banana ball full time. It's look, it is ridiculous, but they understand it's ridiculous, but it's entertaining. I think it doesn't. I watched a little bit of it. It doesn't translate on television the way it does when you're in person.
It's like guy have a heart attack.
That guy's 75 years old. He was pitching.
Spaceman or whatever. The whole thing's a joke. It's just indicative to me, not of them. They're doing the right thing, I guess, for marketing, or whatever. It's the general public. Like that's
entertaining. It's the Globetrotters. Do you like the Globetrotters?
Yeah, the Globetrotters are different though. They still played it.
They're not. They're the same.
It's just ridiculous.
Look, I understand it's not for you, and I've been there. I'm telling you, I've been there, and you should see the crowds there. Some of it, the shtick gets old, but that's the same with everything, right? I mean, I went to a Globetrotters game probably 2 years ago as a much older than when I saw them, and you're like, I know what's about.
They're an institution, man.
They are still playing baseball.
Still playing the game. They're just doing it.
They are still playing a game. It's
not baseball. And I watch it.
It comes down here. You got to watch it in person. But regardless, they're a huge success, and they're not trying to be, a major league baseball team. So I think it's good to understand who you are.
You're going to love it because it's marketing and promotion and all that.
Yeah, I think it's who you are and who your audience is, and try not to be something you're not, which is real good.
I have more issue with the audience. Is my point that people actually want to see that.
Talk to other millions of them.
It's like the movies. Like I go to the movies, right? And I'm like you. I only go to movies when I think I'm really going to like a movie, and I don't like a lot of stuff but you go to a movie and you see these previews, and like every preview I'm seeing is like, this is the worst looking movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but people love this stuff. Like these movies are ridiculous.
Yeah. I like good movies. I like ridiculous movies. I mean, I like, but there are some that I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. I don't care in TV. I don't care if everyone in the world has seen this. I'm not watching it. Game of Thrones. I never watched Game.
I, I I couldn't watch it either, and
Never
then I
watched
was like, all right, I gotta try it. I watched it for 2 minutes. I was like,
I never saw Breaking Bad. I
I
hear that's a good show. Never
it
saw
was
Better
pretty
Call
good. I mean,
Saul.
but it was
But I
still,
like the guy.
but Game of Thrones I tried because everyone's like, this is the great. I knew I'd hate it because I hate all that science fiction stuff
Yeah.
and what is it, Dungeons and Dragons, growing all. And I put it on for 2 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe that this, like, it's put it on for 2 minutes. It's so bad. It's the stupidest thing I've ever
I
seen.
mean, bad television is good. Is really captivating. That there's so many bad shows, and I don't think. Again, I think that people understand it's bad television, but they don't. But
Yeah, I
that's
don't really
okay. They
watch much.
understand what they are.
I actually love to read. So
Have you seen Manti Teo?
I did see that, and
What's your
maybe you can
takeaway?
answer this question for me because this was the one thing I didn't understand. Do you see it?
Yeah,
Okay. So did he not meet that girl for like
never met her.
2 or 3 years though? They were dating per se.
Yeah, never met her.
So never zoomed with. I mean, never
Tried to
FaceTimed.
Zoom. She always said the Zoom was
I know,
off.
but they never had a real FaceTime. So I feel bad for him, but that's just really strange,
It's
right?
strange, and it is for that long. But here's my thing: he's a busy guy, and I think it was a welcome distraction for him, so he didn't have to worry about dealing with women in person. He may or may not be gay. That could be another reason why he's like, "Hey, if people think I'm a girlfriend." He certainly didn't want it to get out of hand the way he wanted to do. But I do believe that he didn't really know until like right towards the end, which is a little bit naive. You can't.
Yeah,
You,
I agree with you. I
yeah,
think he was naive, but I just think the whole thing is so weird. Like, I get it. He's busy, maybe 6 months. I told my friend, I was talking on the phone today, driving here, because he was. I was like, all right, maybe 6 months, maybe even a year. You're in football season, but you're gonna go home. Like, how could you? It was
yeah.
more
If
than
you
a year.
live farther, if you live further away, I can see it. People, I started talking to people online when you didn't like just by without pictures, and then you would send them pictures, and people get nervous, and then they're like, oh, I can't meet you, and then it's like it's never going to be as good. But definitely, there's some naive stuff. Did you watch the uh, um, train wreck, the Woodstock train wreck? You're not a festival guy. You don't like big crowds, and
No, I only time I like crowds is at sporting events.
yeah,
I like the electricity and the
yeah.
the crowd dynamics there, but
But
other
you
than
have a
that, no.
seat.
Huh?
You have a seat. Did you watch
No, I don't. I
Woodstock?
don't care about the seat. I just like the crowd dynamics and it's like it affects the game. It's part of the action. Like at a festival, it's just people. I mean,
Who's on your bucket list to see for music? Who haven't you seen?
I don't. I don't. I'm not like that.
No.
No,
Is there
actually, I'm
someone who's
trying to
not
set
around
up right
anymore that you
now.
wish you would have seen?
I'm trying to see. I've seen Springsteen at times, but we're trying to set up Springsteen in Ireland for
Yeah.
April. Play some golf out there with my mom and my brother Craig. I think we're trying to. You probably know Mad Dog Russo.
Yeah, of course.
He's the only guy I listen to. I listen to him driving, and he's very similar to me. Like,
Yeah, he's become
really
too
is.
big now that he's on ESPN.
Yeah, I don't watch that. I can't stand that whole show. I've never.
He was
I tried
Mike
to
and the
watch that
Mad
one,
Dog. It was
can't
worth
do that.
listening
But
to.
I was listening. He's like complaining. He had a trip to Ireland. He didn't want to go, but he had to go. He was visiting his daughter who was doing college out there, and he came back and he's like, "Oh, it's the greatest trip ever."
It could
Loved
be my
Ireland.
favorite. It could be the best trip I've ever been
I've
on.
never been there. He's like, I loved it. He said, I'm going back for Springsteen. He loves Springsteen. I'm like, that sounds like a great trip. Play some golf. So that's I would say, to see him in Ireland, I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was a Mike and the Mad Dog guy. Did you listen to Stern and Imus?
Nope.
No.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Never listen to Stern. Never listen to. I hate politics. I think you know that. Like I don't even like talking about politics. So.
But do you follow it? Do you care about like what's going on?
I follow it because, but I don't. I read the Wall Street Journal generally most days, and that's where I follow it. I don't watch like the shows, and I don't listen to it. I'm not on any social medias where the posting and all. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's probably a good thing. It's in the last.
I know I've seen some of your things arguing with people.
Yeah, I just get angry because I don't know. I want to be around good people. I want to make the world a better place. I want everyone to have the opportunities that I have. which, we've been very privileged. And most of the stuff that I argue about, it's not even going to affect me. It's like my life's not going to change really. So I try and do, good. I know when no one's looking, you try and do some good stuff here. You don't want to ruin your reputation or anything like that. But at the end of the day,
no, that's what I say. I just try to be a good person for real. I'm certainly a straight shooter, and I like to give you abuse because you people that are so positive, it's fun.
I got to tell you, I'm going to introduce you to people. You would think I was like the most negative person in the world compared to these, because those people who are like, oh, I complain plenty, believe me. But those people are like, man, it's.
I mean, you love to travel. I hate to travel. I like to just. Yeah. I mean, you're going away every weekend. You're gone.
I'm gone the next 3 weekends.
You're always gone. Great. The one trip I'm jealous that you did was the Gator hoop trip to Butler.
Yeah, that was a fun.
I'd like to see them.
I'd like to go to more. Maybe we can go to a road game.
But a game like that, I mean, like seeing a game in the SEC. I mean, even though I'm sure seeing a game in Kentucky is great, but like just Butler, like in the field house, that
was great. We lost that game. With another game we probably should have won, but it was great. I love Indianapolis is fun. The Butler campus is pretty, but to see the history. Hoosiers is in my top 5 movies of all time. Field of Dreams. Those are the sports movies. What do you have? Top 5 sports movies or top 5 movies that?
Well, definitely Hoosiers. Love Hoosiers.
Yeah.
I mean, Bronx Tale's got some sports connotations to it. Love that.
Few Good Men. I love just regular.
Huh?
Just regular.
Yeah, Few Good Men when he takes the bat out of the closet.
My number 1 favorite movie of all time.
Few Good Men is?
Yeah.
I bet you don't know this then. So I grew up in New York, in Westchester, and we used to go to see theater in New York, once or twice a month. And I love theater now. I love musicals. I love theater. But A Few Good Men I saw as a play. It was a play before it was a movie.
Was it?
Yep. No one knows this. It was amazing. So when the movie came out, I had seen the play. And
I never turned it off.
The movie was great, but I remember the play being amazing,
Movie's so good. Great. What a great movie that was.
But Hoosiers is probably my favorite sports movie. It's just but it's more than sports. It's society. It's stuff like I'm sure you also saw. I mean, you had to see it, I'm guessing. What's that? The Duke documentary on 30/30, Unbelievable Lies or something about the lacrosse team.
Oh yeah.
That to me is like it's a documentary. I love that. It has everything. It's got race, society issues, school, college, privilege. I mean, there's every kind of element of society. I think that's that should have been in the theaters, and that's something that everyone should see.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that have some great moments. Blue Chips, when Nick Nolte quits. The Any Given Sunday with Rocky when he talks to his son. Rudy when he's doing. I mean, there's so many good life lessons that come in movies and shows, but sports specifically, because there's a lot of great life lessons in sports. And
sports is the best. That's why they always say, and it's true. Sports is the best reality show.
Yeah. Well, my guest the other day asked me, why do I love sports so much? And I love competition. I don't know what it is. I was always into sports, and then I played it, and I had some success at it. And then you just want to kind of watch it.
You don't play golf, do you?
Not often.
Yeah. Golf is fun to compete in because it's like match play, and you hole versus hole, and you play with Mark Rubenstein. Obviously, he runs golf for him. Yeah,
he's a big golf guy.
Yeah, and I love going to the track. We just had a great trip to Saratoga. My dad, my brothers. That was fun. We're going to do that an annual trip now, I hope, as well. And it's a great place to be. Just fun. So
speaking of golf, I got another thing you're going to disagree with me. I am a fan of Caddyshack 2.
I don't think I've even seen it.
Really? It's if you cannot judge it as a sequel, it's got a lot of merit as a good fun.
I'll watch it for you, and I'll let you know.
But I understand why people don't want you to like. Caddyshack was such a great movie. I understand why people don't want a new one.
I don't think I've seen it, so I'll have to check it out.
If there was a movie that they could do another one, let's say we do another one, what would it be? For me, I think I'd love to see another Back to the Future, because I think they kind of went bad on number 3. 1 and 2, I think were awesome.
It's so funny. Things just come. So yesterday I was in someone's Tesla, and it was like one of those Back to the Future cars with the doors. I'd never seen it. So we were talking about that. I don't think I've seen most of the I've only seen the originals. I don't even think I've seen 2 or 3. I
Oh,
don't
I
remember.
think 2 might be better than the
Really?
first one for me. And they're
I've
both
never.
really good.
Yeah, like I've never seen the Star. I've seen like bits and pieces of Star Wars. Talking about like those are the movies I knew I wouldn't like. So like
Yeah.
I never watched it. But you know, I am looking forward though to. Am I going to be getting from you a ticket for the Utah game? You said you were
Yeah.
going to have something for me.
Yeah, I got something for you for the Utah game. We're gonna it's keep it on the down low.
All
Nobody's
right,
watching this thing anyway. Um,
but you're going to be there, right?
I'm gonna be there, man. I'm excited about it. It's I love we love a lot. I like to tailgate. I like to go to the meals that I go to Gainesville. I like to go out the nightlife. I had a little bit of everything
No, I like that.
for
I
me.
like to tell. I don't like to tailgate as much as I like to go walk around. I like to just not be in one spot, like eating and drinking. I just like
Yeah,
walking around the action, throwing a football, doing the stuff. Like that's what at Oxford, the Grove. I mean, have you been there? To Ole
that's
Miss.
the only one I haven't been to.
So that's the can't miss. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than that place.
Well, there was no tailgating and there was no nightlife when because the pandemic. So I was
No,
like,
I know, but
I'm not going.
the next time that
Yeah,
comes
like
around.
13 years.
So it's exciting actually talking about the Gators real quick. I don't have it off the top of my head, but they got some nice home and homes coming up.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 years from now, but they go to Arizona State, Notre
Yep.
Dame, Utah, Colorado. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
so it's all
looking
good stuff because Colorado's my
Texas,
daughter. My daughter's
Texas,
in college. She won't
Oklahoma.
be there then, but I'm going to go to a game in Colorado this year. We said ASU. My friend Jimmy, we already talked about. He lives out in Arizona, going to that game. I think we had Texas too, even though they're coming in the conference. I think Notre Dame. How
I'll be
crazy will
there.
that be?
I'll be there.
I mean, yeah, I'll be there too. Like, I mean,
Can't
it's
not be there.
exciting. That's exciting. That's like the exciting part of college football.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it still is a few years down the road. I think like 26 or 7 is like
Yep.
the first time when they start. But for like 5 years in a row, it's incredible road trip opportunities. So I think you've probably answered this a little bit. But if there's one sports thing that you can guarantee, it would be an undefeated college football.
Oh, if I could get any hope for, yeah,
If there's something you could say, this is what I want to happen for one of
in
my
sports,
teams, and it's going to happen. It would be
Gators national
undefeated,
football title, undefeated season. Yeah,
undefeated.
yep. That's always been since '88 when I started there. In 1987, I know who the Gators were. Stepped on the campus in '88 and went to that first game. With here come the Gators, and I was just enthralled. And one of the other things I used to love, I used to go to the stadium, and I would just sit in the stadium. Like that's where I'd do my homework or just read or whatever. Because you go to the stadium and there's no one there.
Yeah, it's
Empty.
crazy, right?
And you think about, oh my God, this is empty. And then at other times, this is like the most, the place to be in like the entire United States when like you had the Gator Tennessee games or, like it was just insanity.
My
I
first year was
remember 90, I think it was 96, Peyton Manning. We played at Tennessee. I think we were up big on them. They were coming back and, just being in those type of environments, it's just.
Well, my first big game was '95 when Peyton visited us and they were killing us. And then
Is that the rain? Did it start raining at the end?
started raining, and then we
Yeah.
like scored 40 points on
Yeah,
them.
the rain at the end was great.
Beautiful.
It was just a rain on their parade. It was great. Yeah, because right before that, before you came, Tennessee used to just roll us.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's having. I actually was at the Tennessee game on the road that they freaking beat us and broke the streak, which was so man, because we were killing them there. We were up by like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm still bitter about the time they beat us in overtime when I think our field goal was wide right or missed, and then they wound up winning the national title that year. Like they had beaten Syracuse in the first game in a game they should have lost to. It makes me like mad just to see teams successful that I hate. It's just like
I got a ton of them. Who's the biggest Gator fan you know? Besides you.
Besides me, I mean,
do you have someone that is
as you said? I just know so many different types of levels. I mean,
do people get mad at how much the Gators are part of your life and they get annoyed by it?
No, because I think they get it and they understand it. I mean, I think I think Devin, now that he's there, will understand. Will understand and live it. I think Noah is starting to feel like Noah was really into it last year. He's getting into it, all he cares about now is fantasy football. Like thousand. You know, you remember those days of being a sophomore in high school? Like that's all you cared about, fantasy football.
Oh, we didn't have it like they did. We'd get the Monday paper and we'd
Right.
score it
And
ourselves.
we
I had
would
no
score
idea.
manually. Yep.
I had no idea what I need. Now you're watching the game and you're like, this guy needs 4 yards,
Yeah.
and I win.
It's funny. I don't know which one's better there. I mean, that was kind of fun waiting for the.
I stopped about a decade ago. I don't like it anymore.
I just do it in our family league just for fun. But you know, when I was really, it was kind of fun just having the going in the morning, waiting for the paper and scoring it and trying to score it like 1,000 times to like get it. You needed another point somehow.
Yeah. No, that was crazy. Those were the good old days when you didn't have a cell phone in college, and it's like, how the hell did we even figure shit out? And we did.
It was better times. I really like, you know, I'm old school. I really am. I like the simpler times of growing up, playing sports. You know, there was no.
There's a lot of good that's come from, but I agree. I think back in the day, things were different, and I like a lot of it.
I'm happy. I feel fortunate that I got to grow up in that era. You know, and you know, I just I just like those times better. Yeah. You know.
Well, we're gonna get you out of here with the same question we let everyone out of the Wolff Den with. You can pick anyone in the world to spend a day with, 24 hours. They have to be alive, and you can't be related to them. Who would you pick, and what would you guys do?
You know, I haven't watched your thing in about a week or two, and I forgot that that's the question, so I haven't even thought about it, which I should have. So they have to be alive, spend a day with someone.
Can't be related to them.
Wow. You stumped me right now. Have you ever answered the question?
For me, it's tough. I think Obama would probably be one. He'd be.
Yeah, I'm not into politics, so there's no one in politics that
Jason Bateman is another guy I'd love to spend some time with.
Jason Bateman?
Yeah, he's
one of my favorite. You didn't watch the show?
He's one of my favorite. What show?
Isn't he that show Breaking Bad?
No.
What's his show? Oh, Ozark. Yeah. He's Ozark. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if you said if it was someone who wasn't alive, but like, there's no one in sports that I'm like.
Oh, you wouldn't like to hang out with Spurrier for a day, or Tebow for a day, or Joakim Noah for a day?
Not really. Like, no. I mean, like, there's no one that like comes to mind. I did eat at Spurrier's when we went there. It was great. They had some really cool stuff there. I don't know if you've been there. Like,
yeah, we're gonna be there Friday.
Go check out the letters on that stuff, and then got some conversations with Pat Summitt that are really interesting. I don't know. I can't. I don't want to give you an answer without really thinking about it, and I haven't really thought about it. But really, no one comes to mind, so I apologize. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of Derek Jeter in my New Yorker thing. It wouldn't be him. I mean, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Nobody comes to mind. All right. Well,
I'm probably the only one who hasn't answered it.
Yeah, there's been people who duck that. They say
I'm not even trying to duck it, but no, I don't want to just throw out a name. So I'm sorry. I should have thought in advance. I know you've asked that.
That's why we don't give people. We try and get them as like just to spur the moment. Who's the first name that popped into your head?
I can't even tell you. I mean, I tell you who my idol growing up was, but my idol growing up was Mattingly.
Okay.
But I was crazy. He would get out, I would go nuts. Like I would start throwing things.
Wouldn't it be cool to hang out with him?
Not really. That's the thing. Like, but he was my idol. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely got to be someone, but
he was my brother's favorite player, and my friend Dave was a huge Yankees fan. He's his favorite player too. Great player. All right. Well, if it ever comes to you,
all right. I will think about it. I know it won't be on the air, but I'll shoot you a private text.
We'll see you in Utah, in Gainesville for the Utah game. Should be great to catch up and learn some stuff that we didn't know.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And I mean, staying in Ocala after the game and hoping in the drive from Gainesville to Ocala is fun. Listening to the post game radio. That's if so, it'll be a great weekend. You know,
it's gonna be a great day, but it will be a great weekend if they get the win.
See, that's how we're just so different. If they lose, it's gonna. I mean, to start 0-1. I mean,
I'd say it's gonna be a great day up until the game.
You know, the last time we started 0-1 was?
No, a long time ago.
No, Michigan. In Dallas.
Oh, right. I was at that game.
I was at that game too. There was another game that Michigan tried to give us the game, and we were just not. Remember, they were
I remember that. Yeah, I was at that game. Damn.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you in
All right, man.
Gainesville. Thanks
We're
for having
gone
me.
all next week. I'm in vacation, headed to Gainesville at the end of it. So no Wolf Den next week. So we'll see everyone in September. Be safe, have fun, do something nice, and we'll talk to you.